Dyer's pick.
Tiny.
Radiant's pick.
Invoker.
Radiant's pick.
All right. Here we are, Tactical Gaming In-House 5v5. Looks like we're going to be having Eric from the 2nd Battalion leading our...
10 seconds to
team is
go.
that? I'm pretty sure Dyer's on top. Yeah, Dyer.
5
So
seconds.
Eric going to be leading Dyer, Banana Ringorama. Banana Ringorama. Going to be leading
Dyer's pick.
our Radiant team. First band's coming out, Enigma and Lycan for Dyer, Ember Spirit and OD for Radiant. Pretty standard bands here. Lycanthrope, very strong hero this meta, dominating with that push. Ember Spirit, got a lot of good mid-game damage potential, and essentially unkillable with that Remnant. First picks, we got Tiny coming out for Dyer, possibly going for some kind of Tiny Wisp combo, or
Dyer's
just, you
ban.
know, enjoyment of that hero. Looks like we're getting 2 heroes with return on them. Tiny with that craggy
Radiant's
exterior,
ban.
and Centaur Warren Runner with return. Over on Radiant, we've got Invoker first pick, strong mid, can also be played safe lane. We'll see where that goes. Archer of Crystal Maiden, very strong Invoker player from what I hear.
10 seconds
And
to
second
go.
pick for them, Crystal Maiden, strong all-around support. Doesn't really say much about what their lanes are going to be right now.
Dyer's ban.
Gotta say, that's something that's going to be big in this matchup. These two teams of people, both pretty even in skills from what I've seen. So it's going to be interesting to see how these lanes match up. Bands coming out from Dyer,
10
looking at
seconds
Ancient
to
Apparition,
go.
very strong support. Good all
5
around.
seconds.
Picking him up is good against that split push from a lot of heroes that's going on in this meta.
Reserve time.
Strong spells and Cold Feet and Chilling Touch, giving a lot of damage. And over on the Radiant, ban of Luna. Luna just a strong all-around carry with Glaives and Eclipse. Lifestealer ban coming out
Radiant's
from
ban.
Dyer. Looks like they do not want that free BKB on a carry. And we'll see what Radiant has to say to that in their ban. Possibly, there we go, Venomancer coming out as a ban.
Radiant's pick.
Previous in-house played today, Venomancer strong in that game, as well as OD. Lycanthrope probably winning that game
Dyer's
earlier,
pick.
so the ban's pretty standard. Mirana getting picked up by the Radiant now. Strong hero as well. Still,
Radiant's
nothing
pick.
really said about the lanes for the Radiant. Dyer, same sort of thing going on. Warlock pickup. Got a lot of stun potential, a lot of crowd control potential with this, but I'm not sure what their lanes are going to be. This could be possibly a safe lane, Tiny with an off lane Centaur. We'll see what their next 2 picks are, and that'll possibly flesh out
10
what they're going to be going
go.
into.
5
Radiant.
seconds.
Probably looking at picking up another support, unless this Mirana is going to be running as a support.
Reserve time.
Bane, pretty strong with Mirana. That was run the game before. It didn't go over so well. Some good combinations, but that Bane being run mid and the Mirana off lane served to hinder that ability to get that combo off. Man, taking his time with this pick. Probably going to see a support picked up. As I said before, Bane good. Possibly a Dazzle if they're looking at doing something more defensive. There we go, Dazzle picked up.
Dyer's
Strong
pick.
support, Shallow Grave, giving heroes that 5 extra seconds of life. A good heal. Poison Touch, very strong, aggressive skill, and a weave. Very strong minus armor spell as well. Overall, I'm liking Radiant's draft right now more. Radiant has a strong team for their ganking potential, and their mid, early, and late game looking pretty
10
strong.
seconds to
Crystal
go.
Maiden likely going to dominate that mid game, or early game,
Radiant's
excuse
banned.
me, and mid game. Marana with those arrows, as long as she's hitting them, that'll be some strong power. Puck picked up for the Dire. Interesting choice. I like a Puck pickup in that she's very
10
good at
seconds
dodging
to
a lot of
go.
the ganks that might be coming out from Radiant, but I'm not sure what she's going to
5
offer to
seconds.
their team. Looks like they're going for something very crowd control based. They already have Chaotic Offering, Stomp,
time.
and Avalanche, so I'm not sure if they wanted to get that Dream Coil. I think maybe getting a hero with some more
Dire's banned.
damage in mid might have been better. I would have liked to see a Shadow Fiend, possibly a Viper. Bane banned out by Radiant. Interesting choice. Strong hero that they probably don't want to see this game, though. Fiend's Grip.
10 seconds to go.
Good against any hero, really. And, you know, none of these
5
heroes on
seconds.
Radiant being natural BKB carriers that sleep could also definitely screw up any attempts they make
Reserve
to fight.
time.
Let's see what Dire bands out here. Likely going to be a hard carry that they're looking at. From what I'm seeing from Radiant's pick, it looks like it's going to be an Invoker mid, Marana off, Crystal Maiden and Dazzle supporting a carry in that safe lane. Meanwhile, Dire, Puck likely mid, Centaur Warrunner going to probably be off lane. Then we'll have Tiny and Warlock +1 on that safe lane, unless they decide to go dual lanes. You never know. Looks like Dire's considering what carries Radiant might want to pick up. I should think about the same thing. Weaver could be strong here with that in and out. A lot of damage potential coming out in the early game, as well as being a strong late game carry. Phantom Lancer have been pretty big this meta as well. Banning out the Gyrocopter. I can agree
Radiant's
with that.
pick.
Gyrocopter doing pretty well with the Crystal Maiden and Dazzle in his lane. Crystal Maiden Frostbite holding them in place for that Rocket Barrage to get off. Poison Touch slowing them down so that they can just keep getting that DPS in. We see a Huskar pickup. Interesting choice.
Dire's
Goes
big.
well with that Shallow Grave. If you get it off right, he gets that extra bonus attack speed for 5 seconds. And can throw out those Running Spears without worry about killing himself too much. Not a strong hero in my opinion in general. And with this lineup of the Dire team, I don't see him panning out well. Leaping in and immediately getting stunned doesn't really work for a hero like Huskar. BKB rush
10
on him is
seconds to
going to
go.
be certainly a necessity. Meanwhile, for
5
Dire,
seconds.
looking for another support, I feel. Unless I'm totally misinterpreting their draft.
Reserve time.
I'd like to see them get something like a...
Sand King.
Okay, Sand King. Strong support and will do pretty well against the lineup of the Radiant. So here we go into it. Both these drafts looking pretty strong. Personally, I favor this Radiant draft, even though they did pick up that Huskar, which I do disagree with. Overall, their draft seeming much stronger.
Places
Here we are,
everyone.
practicing their spells in the fountain. Eric going to lane without as much mana as he would like. Alright, let's introduce these players. Over on the Radiant, playing the Marana, we've got Feed Me going to the off lane. Crystal Maiden, handled by Banana. Looks like he's going to be heading out. Invoker, going to be held by WMC Archer. Over in the safe lane, we've also got Dazzle going alongside that, Crystal Maiden, and Huskar, played by Huntio. Dazzle controlled by Neo Exit. And over on the Dire,
30
we've got
seconds to
TG Major
showtime.
Pain in the off lane on that Centaur Warrunner. Sand King going to be handled by the King. Magak going to be on that Tiny. Looks like he's going to be at the safe lane. Jazzcat on the Warlock, also going to the safe lane. Puck, played by Eric, at the mid lane. And you're going to have a pause coming out. Possibly some connection issues. And here we go.
Alright, carry on.
Archer choosing not to block his creeps, while Eric gonna be in a good position to block. Archer going back. Looks like he is gonna attempt to block. Haste spawning down at bottom. Crystal Maiden will pick that up using the Frostbite on Sand King to make sure she grabs it. I'm liking the kill potential in this bottom lane coming out from Radiant, and especially up against this dual lane. Even though they both have stuns, I feel Radiant will definitely have a strong advantage early on to them, but any misplay can definitely be taken advantage of by Dire's offlane dual lane. Meanwhile, up at top, Mirana likely gonna have an easy time. I'm not worried about her going down. Avalanche is strong, but the stun only lasting 1 second. She can leap away easily. I doubt they'll have enough damage to take her down for a while, and likely she will not drop without a rotation coming in. Mid lane, we see Puck not quite keeping up in the CS. Archer 3 ahead right now. Puck yet to pick one up. Picking up an eye, but no CS. Gonna be a little bit more poor than Invoker. Invoker now hitting level 2. Both of them sitting right on the same level, so as long as Puck is able to catch up in these last hits, this lane will stand pretty moot. We've got Crystal Maiden rotating out pretty early. Cold Snap goes out on a Puck, throwing the Illusory Orb at Invoker instead of in a safer direction, maybe towards this tower to try to get away, which is fine. Not too worried about all that damage coming out. Invoker not really high DPS at level 3, that's for sure. Crystal Maiden continuing to rotate. Looks like she's going all the way up to top. And there is a Dire ward right here on top of that Radiant ward, so they will see this Crystal Maiden coming into lane. Pings did come out from Puck just a moment ago, so her attempt to go will not be unnoticed by Dire, I do believe. Invoker heading down bottom to pick up this Invis. May try to do something with it at bottom. May just head back to mid. And looks like, yeah, he's just going to head back to mid. Likely not going to be able to use this to get anything from this Puck, though. Puck starting to catch him in that CS. 3 now to the 5 of Invoker, so not too worrying with where they're sitting on last hits and denies right now. Huskar at the bottom lane. 8 CS to the 9 of Tiny in the safe lane for Dire. So looks like they're pretty even right now. Mirana actually doing very well for having been solo for the first part of the game, sitting on 10 CS, 11 now. Actually out farming the safe lane Tiny. And I think if this farm continues to go the way it is going right now, with Radiant outlast hitting in almost every lane, we're going to see a gold advantage start growing, and that is definitely going to go in the favor of Radiant. Dire team will be pretty strong, but not until they hit level 6. They have a great combo with Chaotic Offering into Dream Coil, into Epicenter, keeping all those heroes in for all that damage, but if they aren't able to get a good lead, or at least survive until they get that combo going, it's going to be hard for them to come back. Just a little bit of harass with Cold Snap going on Puck right now at the mid lane. Sinking actually getting in behind these Radiant heroes might want to try to do something. But the Radiant backing off here at the bottom lane, not going to play it too aggressively, just letting that wave go into the tower. A little bit of damage done to it.
Majestic Dota BGC joined your channel.
Streaming this, can it be heard
What?
and stuff?
I mean, I am streaming this. And you can be heard on the stream.
True.
Yeah. Oh, I have to push a button for you to be able to hear me in TeamSpeak, don't I?
Yes.
Yes. I am streaming, and they can hear you.
Okay. Then we can talk about the things I want to talk about later.
Okay.
You need a co-caster?
Can you see the game?
All right, carry on.
I can watch the
Now,
game, yes.
nobody wins.
You'll be on a 2-minute
I
delay,
think-
though.
Yeah.
Should have stayed
Are you
in.
really casting a lot, or you just streaming?
I'm casting?
Whatever, man. I can comment on your comments.
You can indeed.
Puck out.
Centaur Warner rotating up to the top lane, but that ward from earlier gonna be catching that out. Crystal Maiden, Mirana backing off.
But yeah, I had some stuff to talk to you about after.
Okay. I'll
Sure.
ping you. I'll touch you. I'll poke you when this game is over.
Dire's mid tower's having technical difficulties.
Middle is missing.
Looks like Dire's getting pretty aggressive here at top, trying to make something get done, but Radiant staying very defensive. Invoker actually coming in from the back. He's gonna catch out Centaur Warner.
How much
Stomp.
delay do you have in your stream to the game?
My stream's like a 10-second. Something like that. And looks like Warlock is going to be first blood. Mirana picking that up. Frostbite down on Centaur Warrunner. Going to take him out as well. That's 2 down in favor of Radiant. And you see that gold advantage now climbing over 1,000. Good rotations coming out from Invoker. Good awareness as well. Dire team just not reacting to him coming out of lane fast enough and paying for it with the lives of 2 heroes. Centaur Warrunner does head back to bottom, joining Sand King back down here. Huskar farming pretty well, sitting at 31 and 2. Treads and 2 gauntlets. Likely going to be picking up an urn very soon. Dazzle actually throwing out the poison touch onto Sand King. Sand King gonna return with a stun stomp coming out from Centaur Runner, picking up that kill. Nothing Huntio could do about that.
Shadows take us.
Mirana throwing out her ultimate. A lot of damage going out onto this tiny tosses Warlock back in, but that Mirana ultimate gonna keep her invisible and keep her from taking damage. Tiny getting healed back up. Mirana heading back to base, no more regen on her to keep her in lane. And Crystal Maiden looks like she's going to rotate out towards the mid lane. Double damage is top, and she will spot that out. Invoker is down at bottom, though, not going to be going back up to pick that up. Crystal Maiden probably should be grabbing that so that someone on the Dire team doesn't get it, but instead she just stares at it for a while. Looks like Invoker going to be picking up a kill on Centaur Warner here from bottom. Cold Snap and Tornado being a perfect combination to keep him from using that stomp on him. Invoker going to make it away with 78 HP as well. Sand King can't chase him down.
Radiant's mid tower could use a hand.
Double damage still sitting on top. Mirana now back in lane, full HP and full mana.
Radiant's mid tower's coming.
Looks like she might be going... Last game she did pick up a Dagon. Questionable item on Mirana. Looks like she might be going for it again this game. Arrow is going to hit on Jazzcat. Are they going to follow up on this? Looks like they are trying to. Crystal Nova does go out. Toss onto Warlock, and Tiny throwing Crystal Maiden onto Warlock brings her down. Marana going to leap out. May just barely make it away. Arrow tossed back out. Connects onto Warlock again. That could be a kill if she went over forward and Starstorm, but looks like she's not going to. Invoker actually coming to top now. Tornado doesn't connect with Warlock. He is way out of the way. And looks like this rotation isn't going to get much for the Invoker. Stampede is used defensively just to make sure that Tiny and Warlock are safe. Pings coming out from Crystal Maiden. Looks like they've seen Puck in their jungle. Double damage still sitting on top. No one picking that up. Cold Snap out on Tiny. Not going to have anything happen from that. Tiny playing very defensively right now, just staying in the trees. Crystal Maiden is rotating up, but a Dire Ward is going to see that Moonlight Shadow. Eric not reacting to this. Arrow does go out, but it's not going to connect. No stun coming out to stop Puck from jaunting, and Dream Coil goes down, only connecting on one. Invoker, the only one held down. Tiny is cut off from the rest of his team, though, but he is under the tier 1, and it looks like Radiant isn't going to want to dive right now. So Radiant rotating up to top, be getting spotted out by this ward right here, and nothing is going to come of that rotation. Good defensive play coming out from the Dire team, however. Invoker looks like he does want to go on this Tiny, but Warlock has rotated up now, and he does have Chaotic Offering. Going on him and Tiny might not be the best idea right now. Tornado does fly, connects onto Invoker. EMP thrown out as well. It's not going to connect. Both Tiny and Warlock able to back off, and now Centaur Warrunner actually joining them up at top. Stampede is ready if they want to use it, and it looks like Radiant really wanting to get something out of this. They're going to run right into the Dire creep wave, and Dire team just playing this very defensively, staying right under that tower. Sand King this whole time has been solo on this bottom lane, picking up a lot of levels, now sitting on 7. Max on his stun, and max on, or 1 in Epicenter, 2 into that Sandstorm, and he's got to be enjoying that lane down there. Hopefully he's going to get another level of Epicenter pretty soon, and he'll be able to rotate out and make a lot of pain happen. And it looks like exactly what Radiant didn't want to happen is going to happen. Dire team making it through the early game with only 3 deaths on their team, and now they have all their ultimates. Arrow flies, does connect onto Tiny. Rana looks like she wants to follow up. No other heroes from Radiant coming up, however, and it looks like Tiny's going to be able to just walk away. Puck just chilling in base. Been sitting there for maybe a minute now. Invoker pushing in the mid lane. Sand King does get a haste at bottom. Looks like he's coming in on to Invoker. May try to defend this, but it looks like he's a little scared of that kill potential coming out from Invoker, and most people should be. Looks like Dire trying to go onto the Radiant top lane. Crystal Maiden taking a lot of damage, but not going to get taken out due to that defensive Moonlight Shadow coming out. This dual lane from Dazzle and Huskar takes down a tower at bottom. Dazzle picking up the last hit on that. Puck's mouse having some issues. Invoker definitely looking close to taking down this mid tower if Sand King doesn't push him off of it. And pause comes out. Puck disconnecting. Looks like some serious technical issues. And it looks like Eric is gone for the duration of this game. So we'll now be seeing a 4v5, and the question for this will be, can Dire pull this back with their ultimates and getting in a good combination? Tiny looks like he's trying to rush his Ag, sitting on a point booster and 500 gold. About 2.5k away from that. Invoker does try to get a kill on this Sand King at mid. Huskar and Dazzle rotating in as well. Arrow to fly does not connect with Sand King, but does give them some vision on what is going on back here. Tiny TPing in. Looks like they really want to defend this tower, and they are going to deny this.
Seems the Dire's mid tower's been
Warlock TPing in right next to Huskar, and Huskar does go in. Arrow comes out, doesn't connect on anyone. Tiny Avalanche doing a lot of damage. EMP comes out, doesn't connect as well. Epicenter used, but doesn't bring anyone down. We've got 2 down for the Dire now. Tiny dropping to Huskar. Centaur Warner dropping to Huskar as well. Sand King the only one up now, and he goes down to an arrow out from Mirana. Crystal Maiden surviving that engagement with just 30 HP.
much longer.
And Radiant team now pushing down this mid tower. So Dire, without their puck and without good coordination, drops 4 to none of Radiant actually. No ultimates coming out except for Stampede in that last engagement and Epicenter. A good chaotic offering could have turned that whole thing around. Pings coming out from Dire. Looks like they want to go on this at mid. And there's a toss in on Invoker. Chaotic offering not dropped. There we go. Chaotic offering now dropped. No stuns out. And a Mirana ultimate used defensively so that they can just back off with impunity. And now it looks like they're actually going to go back in, perhaps, using this Moonlight Shadow to their advantage to get in a good position. Invoker has only used 2 spells as far as I've seen this game in Cold Snap and Tornado. Alright, looks like going back in. Cold Snap is used on Tiny. Avalanche comes out, stuns 3. Stampede used as well. Crystal Maiden does drop. That is a lot of damage coming out on her from that Stampede and stun from Sand King as well. Dazzle,
Radiant's
not with the rest of his team, could get picked off here. And there is Burrow Strike on him.
Somebody's
Caught up by Centaur Warner as well, but the Shallow Grave used, but it's not going to be enough. He is going to drop one more right click from Centaur Warner. Arrow does connect onto that Golem, but it's not going to drop to that. And so, Dire does lose Tiny in that last engagement, but they do manage to pick up 2 kills, one on Crystal Maiden and one on Dazzle. So they're not quite out of this yet. Crystal Maiden looks like she wants a little bit of farm up here at top lane. Actually picking up phase boots, interesting choice. Looks like she wants that high mobility and maybe a little bit more right click. Huskar now sitting on an armlet, urn, and treads. Good choices on the items for him. I definitely think that armlet, in combination with Shallow Grave, just really helps him to get a huge boost in his attack speed. Not to get any points in his inner vitality, though. Kind of a questionable choice, as that is a very strong spell both for him and for his friends. Meanwhile, I miss a kill. Tiny picking off Crystal Maiden up at top lane.
That's Radiant's top
Warlock dropping at the top rune between Cold Snap and Arrow, not able to get away from that. And Centaur Warrunner is picked up by the Tornado, but he's gonna use Stampede and just run right off. Tiny looks like he's not gonna engage on this, and they are just backing off. Sand King just sitting mid lane. Meanwhile, Dazzle and Huskar pushing in this bottom. Hoping to pick up another tower here, it seems. I think Radiant does need to be careful. Even though this is a 4v5, they can still get crushed by a good, chain stun coming out from Dire. Double Edge doing a lot of damage in that small AoE. Alongside of an Epicenter and a Chaotic offering.
Nothing about Dire structures right now.
I don't think... Maybe Huskar and Invoker could survive that, but not many of the Radiant heroes have the health to survive that, and looks like Mirana does in fact pick up that Dagon. Meanwhile, Sand King gets tossed in onto 2, uses Burrow Strike, only connects with Invoker, and they're just going to wander off. Mirana not getting caught in the dust used either.
technical difficulties.
The Radiant Courier might just get picked off here. Oh! Makes it away with 6
Do
HP.
something about that bottom tower.
Rana throws out a random arrow while getting away from these dire heroes. Meanwhile, Archer on that Invoker is up in the dire jungle, possibly trying to pick someone off. A third spell has been invoked in Ghostwalk.
Guess what's happening to
And
Dire
Dazzle and Huskar
tower?
been working on this bottom tower, and there it goes.
Dire's
Huskar actually
bottom
picking up
tower
this
got
final
blown
kill.
to bits.
Huskar could look to engage on this. There are 3 of the Dire team, but with a good Shallow Grave, he might be able to pick off 2, or maybe even 3. There is the weave, so it does look like they're looking to engage Mirana rotating over as well. That bonus armor is going to be huge if they do go in. And yup, Huntio looking for a target and wants to get one in range. Doesn't want to go under that tower though, as that thing will add a lot of damage to the potential of Dire. Ping is coming out from Invoker. Illusion Rune is at bottom. Looks like they're not going to be able to make anything come of that weave, but it'll be up in 14 seconds, so that's not a concern. Crystal Maiden cut off from her team and possibly going to go down here. Arrow does come out, doesn't connect. Meanwhile, Crystal Maiden gets burrow striked, but Invoker going in on Warlock in the back. No chaotic offering, he says, and yep, Warlock dropping. Stampede not used yet. We've used on both Dazzle and Huskar. Meanwhile, Sand King getting gone on over up in the top side of the dire jungle. Huntio turning now. Shallow Grave used as well, and there's that coming out.
2 down.
No armlet use in that, and there's the GG coming out from Tiny. Dire team realizing they can't really hold off without Puck, and even with Puck, that advantage just from that combo being able to be disrupted by a lot of Invoker spells, EMP burning all of their mana, Tornado picking them all up and stopping a lot of that combo damage coming out. Good play overall, and Radiant does indeed pick up the victory.